Walking to the common area, I see a handful of other students hanging out and catching up before classes begin again tomorrow morning. I overhear a conversation about the games they played instead of weekend homework, while another is talking about a girl he's crushing on one grade below him. Continuing into the hallways, look for my room, number 143, right here. I open the door and take my first steps inside. My bags are in the middle of the room where my parents must have left them. It's a note in the luggage that says simply, "Love you, Gabriel, and hope that you have a great semester at your new school. If you have any miss, don't hesitate to call. Love, Mom and Dad." I gather my things and put them where they belong. They probably won't remain orderly for long, but I may as well put them in their proper place while I'm thinking about it. Set my laptop on my desk and my Bible on my bedside table for finishing touches. Before I even have a chance to meditate on the day's events, I collapse into my bed and drift away. The tone of my alarm clock eases me awake. My eyes open to an unfamiliar ceiling. I must have been exhausted last night because I don't even remember setting my alarm. I grab my phone from the bedside table and check time. 6:30 a.m. First, I body into upright position and swing my legs over the side of the bed. Running my hands to start my morning ritual. 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 15 sit-ups, a 10-kilometer run. It might not seem like a lot, but doing it each morning helps wake me up and gives me energy. Grab a towel and my shower gear and head into the bathroom. After checking the temperature for a few seconds to make sure it's ideal, I step into the warm water. Call me weak, but I always find a warm morning shower gently wakes me up a lot less stressful than a cold shower full of energy. You know what? That depends on the time of year for me. If it's summer, which it is right now, as time of recording, it's cold shower, all the way cold blast. Jump straight into that cold water. Prepare my mind for the day by meditating in the shower and reciting my morning prayers. This time I pay a little more attention to the words I'm saying after last night. It's always been a simple Our Father and any other little thing that's on my mind. Something my dad taught me when I was younger. While your mind is still waking up, focus your will on God and the rest of your day will go His way. At the very least, it has always helped me clear my mind and focus on the goals for the day. Today's primary goal is paying attention in class so I'm not left behind. I'm a month behind everyone else, after all. School sent me a homework package where I arrived with the expectation of what would catch me up, at least. As I'm meditating on the day, I wonder if other people's morning rituals have any resemblance to my own. After finishing up the shower, I put in my uniform and scarfed down a quick breakfast bar for my morning meal. It's not ideal nutrition, but it does its job of holding me over till lunch. You get individual bathrooms? I never had to stay in a dorm before, but I did for a church retreat once, and there was a communal shower area, and I hated that. All the other guys really make their way through the hall and out of the doors into the campus. Follow the steady but disconnected stream of students heading from all over into the main school building. As I entered the classroom, I'm greeted by a familiar face. "Good morning, Gabe. Did you find your way here all right?" Such a bright and cheery attitude this early leaves no doubt to me that she's a morning person. She's a morning bird. Early bird. "Good morning, Sarah. You're here early. Class doesn't start for another 10 minutes. I know what they say. Early bird gets the worm, though I can't really stand to touch worms. Too slimy." That's cute. I am a night owl. I am not much for early mornings, so I need like 3 or 4 cups of coffee to get going. Not huge cups of coffee. I'm talking like, a mug, a 16-ounce mug. Now that makes me wonder if harpies actually do eat worms, so I'm too afraid to ask. Probably not. Like, look at her mouth. She doesn't have a beak, dude. Anyway, speaking of worms, here comes Ren. Nah, wordplay jokes. Follow Sarah's gaze at the door, watches Ren enters with the backpack slung over his shoulder with one hand. "What's happening, Sarah? Morning, new guy." "No, I get it. Worms and never mind." "Good morning. Have you met Gabe yet?" "Yeah, I was following Damien around like a lost puppy yesterday. He was pretty good at sports." "I am not." "You have to show us in the gym today. Depending on how good your skills are, I'm going to have to scout for you in the basketball team." "Not if I get into martial arts club first." So everyone can continue fighting over which club I'm going to be forced to join as they take their seats. My gaze still focused towards the doorway. I notice Clover and Ava entering the room. Ava looks in my direction and shyly raises her hand in a short greeting before finding her seat. She does this, she looks more directly at me and blushes a bit for focusing her attention back at Clover. I wonder if it's because I saw her before the confessional last night. Nothing to be embarrassed about. I was there for myself, too, after all. I'm thinking to myself, Clover sleepwalks her way in, but still manages to find her seat despite this. Damien walks in soon after, giving me a quick yo with his signature wave and finds his seat. Looks about as tired as Clover. Poor guy. Wonder if his student council duties extend into the weekend or even late at night. By the time class is about to start, I'm still left awkwardly standing around near the front of the class. Fortunately, I'm saved by the teacher who opens the door soon after. She's a ram? "Good morning, class." A nun in her habit floats gently into the classroom. My eyes focus on the 2 circular horns fixed to the side of her headdress. I also notice that there is a cloth belt wrapped around her waist to which is affixed a rosary. Her left hand is adorned with a plain silver ring on her ring finger. Obviously, she's not married, if I had to guess, like a symbol of her perpetual vow of chastity. And that's another thing. In my denomination, first off, only men can be preachers or pastors, but there is no vow of celibacy in uh, going into the role of a preacher or even an assistant preacher or anything like that. That is not a thing in my denomination, anyway. So I hope you guys are learning. Hope you're taking notes. This is all going to be on the test. The other students quickly wrap up their conversations and take their seats. Unless standing awkwardly at the front of the class, we need to be assigned a seat. I take a quick note of the whiteboard where the teacher's name is written, Sister Talia. Sister Talia is a sheep person, a nun and a teacher at St. Thomas. I'm just going to say St. Thomas. I'm not even going to fight that name anymore. Who primarily teaches religion, science, and English literature. She often has a peaceful smile on her face until the subject of science and religion come up, causing her eyes to sparkle with intensity. She wears a ring on her finger to symbolize her perpetual vow of chastity to God and her spiritual marriage to Jesus. Here's the thing. Religion and science are not at odds with each other. In fact, they are the perfect complements to each other. Science is a how, religion is a why. Today we have a new transfer student from a town 3 hours over. Gabe, why don't you introduce yourself? I should expect to be put on the spot like this. We think of some basic things to say that should suffice as an intro. Hey all, my name's Gabe. I've grown up a lifelong Catholic, and although I usually like staying out of the center of attention, I'm a good ways from home, so I hope to get to know more people here. I finish hoping that's good enough. I could have mentioned casual sports, gaming, or music, but I didn't think it'd be worth mentioning them. I dabble in a lot of different hobbies, but don't excel at anything in particular. Jack of all trades, master of none, I suppose. Class applauds and welcome as Sister Talia points me out a seat near the window. Fortunately, it's right next to Damien in front of Sarah. She gives me a wide grin and excitedly shifts up and down in her chair as I approach. Is she flirting with me, or is she just the sort who just loves everybody? I'm thinking it's the second one. I take my seat as the teacher begins today. Hope you're all nearly done reading a book from last week's assignment. There'll be a quiz this Friday depending on the book you chose. Most of the other students groan at this news. Gabriel, since you're coming in part through the assignment, I'll delay your quiz and allow you the weekend to catch up. We're going over books that our Protestant brethren have written and comparing and contrasting the many values we share in common. I think that's a good thing. You should learn stuff about practices outside of your particular sect. You can pick from one of these three titles by C.S. Lewis. Oh, we actually get an article for C.S. Lewis. Famous Christian author who is known for his works The Chronicle of Narnia, Mere Christianity, and The Screwtape Letters. His close friend to J.R.R. Tolkien, the Catholic author of The Lord of the Rings. And the whole thing about... this is a true story where when he decided to have Santa Claus show up in the Chronicles of Narnia, it almost ruined his friendship with Tolkien because Tolkien got so bent out of shape about it. Truth is stranger than fiction. See the sheet of paper with the assignment on it. Books in question are Mere Christianity, Screwtape Letters, and The Abolition of Man. We don't get that one that Yutaku likes to talk about. Rats. I can't pull the name out of a hat. I'll put it on screen somewhere here to the left of the nun's head. He talks about it all the time, and it sounds fascinating. I really need to sit down and read it. I'll check one of these out in the library later today. Shouldn't be a problem. I'm a fairly quick reader. Stick to the paper in a binder for safekeeping and turn my attention to the front of the classroom. Each of these books provides us a different perspective into which the view of the world under Christian lens using religious reasoning, philosophical reasoning, and narrative. C.S. Lewis once famously stated, I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. What he meant by this is not simply that Christianity can explain the things that which we may not yet know in the sciences, a fallacy known as God of the gaps, but that within the one world view, all sorts of why questions can be answered, not in the casual sense, but as a far sense of why should anything matter. It has an answer for every moral question and quandary, and when viewed as a whole, holds no rational contradiction. There is one. It is the one thing that, funny enough, of all things, Indiana Jones kind of tackled a little bit. Christ said that when he returned again, someone from that era will still be alive. Now, historically, we know that to be untrue, but it leads to a lot of speculation that there's still someone who's actually from late BC era Israel still around today. So either that was a very figurative way of speaking, or there's some 2,000-year-old dude just hanging around. I don't know. Life is a weird thing sometimes. When there appears a contradiction, it's usually due to a faulty personal interpretation. That is true. For Catholics, this isn't a problem since we've heard of the church teachings through the magisterium. I am from a sect that follows sola scriptura, so our authority actually comes from scripture, not from a church leader. And also an interesting thing in Christianity as a whole is the fact that our arraignment of law comes in order of severity, where the laws that are the most important always take precedent and everything else kind of falls under it. Whereas in a lot of other religions, they actually follow in chronology. Where several sects and other religions have their values change over time based on new information and new interpretations. So that's food for thought. Now, the magisterium was established to keep and organize the findings of the church as it has for the 2 millennia of its existence and beyond. All this religious theology right off the bat in the first day is a lot to take in. This is all softball stuff, dude. Gabe, get with the times. I believe it all, of course, but it's unreal to see it taught in a classroom. I wonder what the world would be like if basic religion and philosophy were taught in public schools. That would be really interesting, and you then run into the fact that people don't actually know where the term separation of church and state actually comes from or what it actually means. And people are dumb. Let's just keep it at that. I've been on enough soapboxes this episode. It seems to be like 5 hours long by the time I'm done. Would it at least encourage more thoughtful discourse? In my opinion, and this is just me, I think both should be taught. Like, I think things like evolution and religious views of creation should both be taught. Because if you have all the information, you can start drawing conclusions. If you only have one or the other, you're missing out on something that's worth arguing about. Whether one is 100% right or not is not relevant. What matters is, do you know about it, and have you been able to draw your own conclusions from the available information? Who really knows? I think about Arya for a moment, remembering that Father John said she wasn't religious. I wonder if she cares about being taught about religious philosophy, or if she just expects it having been enrolled in Catholic education. You run into those. Sister Talia calls out at various students about what they've learned so far. Her first victim's Clover, who with no more coyness than shame admits she hasn't started reading yet. Sister Talia just shakes her head and sighs. Sarah whispers behind me, Clover's a big-time gamer. She's more likely to stay up late on her computer than read, but I hear she's naturally smart, so she still has good grades. Ah, that sort. As far as Sister Talia isn't too hard on her. Sister Talia's next target is Ava, who I thought would react more timidly in front of the class. She instead surprises me with a confident answer. Sarah speaks up again behind me, confirming my suspicions about Ava's hobbies. If you haven't noticed already, Ava's obsessed with reading. Although she's a lot more book smart than what you might call street smart. Sarah, do you have anything to add to the discussion? No, Sister Talia, sorry, ma'am. Sarah zips her lips tight. You readily feel the redness of her cheeks radiating behind me. That was pretty funny. Class continues along with no more interruptions from Sarah, so she learned her lesson. After class, the class pours into the hallway for lunch. It's a little redundant. I said most of the students were heading to the cafeteria, so I followed them since I can't remember exactly where it was from yesterday's tour. The menu seems typical from any other school cafeteria. Build your own sandwich station with a simple salad bar and main item of the day. Today looks like a burger or chicken fingers with a few vegetable sides. I don't recognize anyone inside. I grab a plate, load it up, and head outside. Sun shines brightly on everyone in the courtyard. Everyone's either sitting and eating at picnic tables or standing around talking to each other under shaded trees. Do I get to pick who I sit with? On one side of the courtyard, I saw Sarah and Ren out of the picnic tables where there are several unoccupied seats. You're having an anime conversation about something. I feel bad about interrupting them, but I don't see anyone else I know around here. Sarah seems very sociable, so I don't think it'll be a problem. As you wary around Ren, however, since she seems like she wants to measure up my athletic abilities. Let's take this chance to get to know them a little better. I was kind of hoping I'd get a choice. I'm a while into this, and I've only been given one choice so far. Even if they're completely pointless, a little bit of dialogue branches, even little ones, I think would go a long way. I approached them while they're still actively chatting. Looks like Sarah chose the chicken fingers as her food is still on her plate. The bird is eating a bird. That's a little weird. I mean, I guess they're two different species of bird. And when you get right down to it, most animals will eat anything they can get. Like cows will eat any the small animals and stuff that are in their pasture. Ostensibly herbivorous, but not averse to expanding their diet if they can. And then you have pigs. Don't even get me into that. They'll eat literally anything, including human corpses. Meanwhile, Rin is responding with a mouthful of her burger. You was telling me that a gallon of milk a day is a fast way to bulk up muscle. When you finish drinking the whole jug, you spewed all over the sidewalk. Ah, that's awful. Rin lets out an uproarious laughter as she washes down her burger with her own bottle of what looks to be a protein shake. Sarah chuckles at Ren's story, then notices me approaching. She moves me over and motions me onto the bench attached to the table. Hey, Gabe, Ren was just telling me about a guy at her gym who was trying to give her, of all people, tips on how to bulk up. She looks like she's solid lean muscle. Why would she need to? I didn't even know the decency to try my routine after he embarrassed himself like that. Ren takes another chug of her shake with a wide motion, wipes away a milk stash that it leaves behind. So you hear you're somewhat of an athlete yourself. What's your game? Athlete? I am not. But I did play a little basketball in elementary school, and then taekwondo in middle school. My dad coached a basketball team, but I couldn't say I've kept up my skill set. I only got as far as advanced blue belt in the martial arts classes. I thought to mention those two because they were relevant. I also tried swimming once, but I wouldn't want to have to admit that I quit after I lost my swim trunks during an initial dive while practicing before a competition. Oh, that's harsh. At least only the guys' team saw that. Don't be so modest. I'm sure you're pretty good at something. Yeah, you stood your ground and I decked your shoulder yesterday, didn't you? And it simply moves my shoulder when she punched me yesterday. Roll it around a bit. I can still get some of the bruise she left, but I laugh it off anyway. No sweat. It only left a little mark. It wasn't dislocated or anything. And chuckles at my remark, eyeing my shoulders. I rotated around in the socket. Since you know a little bit about us already, what kinds of things were you into at your old school? Being honest, I'd say I didn't have a lot of focused hobbies. But I could pick one of my minor hobbies that I know these two are into and go with that. Okay, now we're getting into, like, the dating sim element. So if I say basketball, I'm probably leaning more towards Sarah. And if I go with martial arts, I'm probably leaning more towards Ren. And socializing is either a neutral option, and competitive video games will almost certainly put them off, because people who play video games competitively are a cancer upon the earth. I like Ren better, so I'm going to say... Even though I didn't get very far, I did like the taekwondo classes I took back then. I dropped out of it just for high school, which I have minor regrets over. The advanced blue belt rank wasn't very high, but I'm confident that I learned enough to be able to throw and dodge a good punch. Yeah, well, you know that any and all types of martial arts are my jam. I can help you build upon what you learned and whip you back into shape. Give it a more serious thought. You make a great addition to the martial arts club. I got some consideration, but I haven't made up my mind yet. We'll see. Conversation continues along these lines till the bell rings. Ren chugs on the rest of her shake, and Sarah neatly stacks the items on her tray for disposal. Great catching up with you. Ren, now go ahead and take care of the trash. We'll see you in the gym class a bit later, all right? Thanks, and yeah, see you there. I get up and grab my things and start heading to our next class. Well, I got to make an actual decision. That's cool. As I'm thinking about the conversations we had during lunch, I think back to the types of casual conversations I had with my old friends. Never really became that close to many people there. I used to just hang out with some of the few groups of friends talking about the latest popular trending show or game that came out. I wonder if I'll have anything more meaningful than that, or if it'll just be something you have to get lucky enough to find yourself. Relationships are what you make of them. Putting faith in other people is very, very, very difficult. Am I at an advantage or disadvantage now that I have a fresh start? On one hand, I don't know anybody that well, so I can make myself new if I want. Tabula rasa, ready to be molded for whatever I want or whatever a new friendship calls for. On the other hand, pre-existing friend groups might not have any incentive to open the door and ruin their current group synergy. I wouldn't really blame them for that either, I guess. At any rate, everyone seems to be getting along whether they are a monster person or a regular human. Does the religious nature of the school have anything to do with that? I hope merely being a part of a larger faith community is good enough to open a door for anyone hoping to belong. Surely it is, right? It depends on where you go. People will be people anywhere they go, and regardless of what institutions they're part of. As I continue to think to myself in the hallway, I ran into Arya, who, as I recall, wasn't outside during lunchtime. I wonder if the whole Daywalker thing has anything to do with it, considering sunlight. Considered calling out to her, but changed my mind at the last second. Why would she want to talk to an underclassman anyway? Despite my insecurity, she looks up and notices me approaching. This catches me off guard, so I make a bold move to greet her. Hey. Smooth. She continues typing on her cell phone, seeming to ignore me when she suddenly greets me back. Hey there, Gabe, was it? Since I ran into her yesterday, I've been curious about what kinds of things she was writing in her phone. She didn't deny being an author, but I get the feeling that she wasn't exactly writing a novel. Yeah, still making notes on your phone? Sure, not that it's anyone's business. Point taken. Still curious. Arya looks back at her phone briefly, then starts typing again, as she never looked up in the first place. Song ideas, lyrics, musical notation. I play guitar, so it helps me keep notes of what I don't have it next to me. Okay, I can see that. Punk accessories, goth-type makeup, standoffish attitude. Don't mean to profile, but she fits the bill. It's a new one for me. Will I get to hear any of it during our music class? I did sign up for that. It's an elective, after all. Probably not. We mostly do choir songs and popular music. I've had to play once or twice, but I think they've given up on asking me to perform during class. Fair enough. They probably don't want to force anything. I know she's not religious considering what Father John said about her, so I'll probe a bit further and see why that might be. Do you do religious songs? Or, I mean, since you were in the church and all. Religion and I don't really get along. Spiritual, at least. Depending on how you look at it, maybe. That still doesn't explain why she was in the church. I'll have to ask more specifics at another time. I don't want to push the issue too much, despite my curiosity. Alright, well, I won't keep you from your thoughts anymore. She resumes typing onto her phone while walking beside me. Not very sociable, I guess, but at least she didn't shut me down. Still curious to know what a daywalker of all things came to be enrolled in the Catholic high school. Why is that a thing? Like, you've already established they're not the same as vampires, so, like, why would that be an issue? And let's be honest, not everyone who goes to a religious school becomes particularly devout. That's just how it be. It may be biased from living outside of their world, but it's my understanding that all vampires are evil due to how they became vampires. I know better than to judge a book by its cover. I'm willing to bet it's more complicated than that. Nobody with free will can automatically be condemned as evil without the possibility of redemption. In the mortal world, true. I should get around to asking Damien about that sort of thing. After all, Father John suggested I get to know more about monster people since I'll be around them a lot more now. That's true. Noise of basketballs and sneakers assaults my ears as I enter the gym. Some students have organized themselves in circles for warming up and stretching, while others seem to have started right away. Sarah and Ren are part of the former group. Other groups of students head straight towards the bleachers to socialize or read by themselves. Kind of defeats a purpose for a class dedicated to moving around, but I'm sure it's a welcome break for some. Coming as a surprise, and Arya walks past and takes a seat in the bleachers, still on her phone. Guess they combine a lot of different grades for electives. I think I'll have her in both music and gym class. Also in the bleachers spot Clover, who's deep in conversation with Ava. Ava looks like she is totally ignoring Clover while she reads her book. What a dynamic duo. Damien's absent from the whole picture. I wonder if he gets an excuse from PE due to student council duties. At my other school, we used to do whatever activity or sport the PE coach directed everyone to do, but it appears that this school has a bit of a choice. I guess it's a matter if I'm feeling more active and competitive today or not. I see my skills match up to Ren. I wanted to know the lazy bums in the bleachers a bit better. If I didn't have a chance to choose, Ren calls out to me. Oi, new guy! I think probably because I talked about it earlier, I may have locked myself into this. You better get geared up. I'm not letting you skip out on your first day here. Get some minds made up for me. I hit on her, and thus I reaped the consequences, even though really I would rather have gone to go talk to Ava. In that case, time to get my blood pumping and stretch out those muscles. It's a good thing I kept up my daily morning workout, so I won't be too out of shape for this. Head towards the group in which Sarah and Ren are stretching. As I approach, Sarah beams a bright smile towards me. Next to her, a short, cat-type monster girl sizes me up. She has the same kind of smug grin that I would expect from a cat girl. Hey Gabe, ready to show off those skills you have against Ren? I'm not quite sure I'm ready for a true test of my skills against Ren quite yet, but I'll humor her. Yeah, you're on, let's do it. I look over at the cat girl, wondering why she's staring at me. By the way, this is Maya. She's a senior on the girls' basketball team. Hey, nice to meet ya. She pushes her fist towards for a fist bump. I saw my bumping fists with hers. Can't wait to see what you're made of. From what Ren and Sarah tell me, you're hot stuff. I wouldn't go quite that far. So the two roughly equal groups. So the few other random students, Ren's on the opposing team, and Sarah and Maya are on mine. Good, at least I won't have to be completely dependent on my own average fitness versus Ren's superior athleticism. She may be a girl, but Ren's still taller and much more fit than me. I thought you said you were taller than her. Maybe I misunderstood that. You want to make things more interesting, you guy? How about you make a bet? If my team wins, you come and check out the martial arts club at your school sometime this week. Deal? Sure, don't see any harm in that. What do I get if I win? I'd check out the basketball team instead. You can settle this once and for all. All right, deal. Hey, wait, both deals into an obligation for me. Don't I get a say in this? My protests went unheard. Nice try, hero. All right, guys, I know we don't usually bother counting score in gym, but I want to put Gabe here to the test. So first team to 40 wins. Everyone cool with that? Everyone nods in agreement. I have to have a more serious game to play than usual. I expect that they're just as excited to know my potential as they are to play seriously against Ren. One of the students takes the basketball for the initial toss-up. Ren takes the center for their team, and I take that place for mine. Oh, I'm going to get smashed! This isn't even fair! We look seriously in each other's eyes with a competitive grin, ready to act as soon as the ball's in the air. The student drops the ball low and throws it into the air between us. Ren already has me beat in height by an inch or two. Okay, so she is taller than me. The height at which she jumps astounds me. I'm not even close to touching the ball at the point where she grabs it and tosses it back to one of her teammates. She dribbles it down the court and passes it to Ren for a layup score of the first 2 points. Looks like we're in for a tough game. Don't underestimate her. I mean, I don't expect you to, but she's one of the best for a reason. Time to put it in high gear, then. What am I going to do? Use my lazy flab muscles in order to overpower her? Come on. Hype myself up and try to go full beast mode, focusing my attention, readying my muscles and preparing to win. Competing just takes a different state of mind. It doesn't matter what you call it. Whatever it takes you to focus yourself on your goal. In order to channel that focus, I should put myself in the mindset of a famous basketball player. Who was it my dad was always talking about again? Which famous basketball player do I focus on? Bruce Lee was not a basketball player, dude. Oh, I don't know any of these people except Bruce Lee. I suck at sports. Okay, someone just go in the comments and make fun of me now. I don't know. Dude, I don't care about sports. Sports are one of the least interesting thing in the world to me. I'm a Snek. I don't have arms or legs. What do you want? John Stockton. Great basketball player. I get the feeling that I just screwed up. One of the few Catholics in basketball fame. He retired a while back. Oh no, he actually is a basketball player? Did I actually get a good guess? He retired a while back, but even some of his daughters went on to play professionally after him. Most of his assists came from passing to his teammate Karl Malone, another great basketball player. Or at least that's what my dad tells me. I'm trying to think of something he would say to encourage me to make this game a victory. I never felt I was better than anybody, but I always felt I could compete with anybody. That's true. What good is winning if you're not willing to share in victory together? Instead to focus on teamwork, and it pays off. As a team, we push past Ren and return scoring 3 more baskets behind their backs. We keep at a decent pace for the rest of the match. Everyone's spirit still seems into it. Ren is clearly MVP of the opposing team as I suspected. The rest of them are certainly giving it their all as well. Our team seems to be a bit more balanced, especially with Maya on board. As we get into the 30-point range, it seems the game is going to be neck and neck. I steal the ball from the opposing team and speed past all the rest. I see Ren charging towards me from the front. If I can make this shot just past her, it'll give us a real advantage, not to mention a good confidence boost. I notice Maya open near the basket with the gap that might close soon if I don't decide quickly. Might better pass it since Ren is getting ground on me. Ren grins as she continues her forward sprint. Gotta make a quick choice. What would John Stockton do? He would pass. Pass it to Maya. Better play it safe. Pass it to Maya. Now the pressure's off me. I can focus on dodging the giant dragon girl who's just short of taking me out. So he tossed the ball to Maya, executing a perfect bounce pass through 2 members of the opposing team and into her hands. She raises herself, placing both hands on the ball, and takes a quick jump shot, getting the ball into the hoop in one swift motion. Meanwhile, Ren continues her forward momentum, eager to stop me from taking action. I don't know what she's thinking, but she's getting awfully close to hitting me, and then smack! Ren's body collides into mine, sending me flying backward onto my rear and sliding me back further another few feet. Sorry about that. Sometimes I get a little too enthusiastic and lose my sense of depth. Ren continues over to me and offers a hand to help me back up. I graciously accept the offer. In the background, I hear Sarah, Maya, and the rest of our team celebrating our victory. Although Ren just helped me up, I can tell that she realized that she lost the game. Good game. I guess the new kid's better than he looks. Not really. Ren says with a hint of salt. Wait, did her profile update? Ren appears to be good at doing just about everything. She seems to lose her temper when it comes short of winning. Iron scale. Oh, okay. No wonder it knocked me on my butt. Smoke coming from her mouth certainly doesn't help her maintain an image of control. Anything, her holding back the smoke by gritting her teeth only intensifies the intimidation factor. Ren stomps off to the rest of her team and starts practicing shooting drills. As I try to avoid making her angry in the future. I wasn't trying to make her mad. I was just trying to play the game. A second later, I do people approaching from behind. Don't worry about her. She's a bit of a sore loser sometimes. Yeah, she was on the team freshman year. That was a real problem for a while. It's a fun game, but it does kind of ruin the spirit of things acting like that. Hope we can reconcile everything once she's cooled off. That's a super great game, by the way. I didn't know if I could pull it off, but the way you looked out there got me really hyped up for some reason. That's a thing to pass the ball to me despite Ren charging at you like that. You definitely have what it takes to join the guy's team. The game was all about the proof that I needed to know that you'd be a perfect addition. Gotta say, it was pretty fun to get out there and compete again. I'll give it a lot of further consideration. You better. We did bet on it after all. It's getting close to time for the next class to start, so I'll see you there. Tomorrow, hopefully. Not that I had any impact or agreement on that bet, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to show up. Can I check out both? Sarah and Maya turned away to push towards the girls' locker room. Sarah's felt us accidentally push a cool breeze towards me as she turns away. By the time the bell rings and the rest of us hurry to the locker room to change for we're late for our next class. After the final bell rings, Sister Talia reminds me to pick out a book from the library so we can start on that assignment. We hear the familiar sound of silence as I arrive, despite the chatter in the hallway. I don't see anyone behind the main counter. Was I wrong about my assumption or someone being on staff after school? No matter. I can find my way around the library just fine. Might become a problem I need to check out, however. During my survey of the library, I hear a bunch of tapping and clicking on the other direction. It's by a familiar pair of shiny blue antennae from behind the chair. Clover's sitting in the back library chair in an elaborate setup. Her attention is focused on a game she's playing. I know the school knows exactly what she's using the computer for, or if they even care. I feel drawn to see what she's up to. I haven't played many games recently. Maybe I can seek her opinion for something new. Hey. Looking back at me, Clover greets me with a short wave. Yo, what you up to over here? Saving the world from powers of darkness? That and more. Looking Clover's shoulder at her monitors. The main one hosts the main game she appears to be playing. The other showing multiple smaller windows filled with flashy graphics. Some appear to be playing themselves. Sarah was right this morning. Clover really is an intense gamer. Is she doing like a multi-setup where like she's playing both games at the same time? So that's pretty impressive considering you're only using the school's computers. Heh, yeah, I just intrigued to get it to work, but I needed a screen for each of my monitors back at home. That way I can multitask here at school until my dad comes and picks me up. You don't just take a bus. I'm not very fond of public transportation, but it's mostly impatience. I can get more done if I start gaming here. Besides, my dad isn't usually home till late. Well, what are you actually playing? It's like Final 14th Nights game I've seen trailers for. Yeah, there's a new expansion that'll be coming out in December. That Final Fantasy 14 joke? All the pre-expansion patch events are dropping, so soon I need to make corner of the market on the material. All the other windows you have up, most of those are remoted in Windows to my home PC, running mobile games, emulators using bots to play gacha games. Oh man, I don't feel so bad about my gaming habits anymore. I think I understood at least half of that. I understood everything she said just fine. You're an idiot, Gabe. Mobile games are just phone games. Emulators, I guess, simulating a phone on a computer. Easy to do, actually. Gotchas are those games that use in-game currency or real money to collect characters to do battle for you. Sounds complicated. Now, once everything's set up, do you focus on one game at a time, let these bad boys go in the background farming for XP or evolution material? More power to you! Most of that's over my head, but I do game enough so that I get the concept. I'm only used to games where XP is awarded by direct fighting. Seems like an overcomplication to grind XP as an item that assigns the item to a character, though I see the benefits too. It's clear that she's an MMO and gacha addict, though. But Sarah told me before she's lucky she's not naturally smarter. Her brain would probably be mush by now. Should go get the book for the assignment I came for in the first place. Because you haven't read yours yet, despite being called out this morning. You would be correct. Figures. Anyway, I'll figure out which one I want on my own. Nice talking to you. See you around. Laters. Clover briefly waits as she spins back in her chair towards the computers. Well, I know who Clockwork would fall in love with. Nothing seems to phase her concentration when she's gaming, I guess. Ryan, should grab the book for my assignment. Lose myself in thought for a bit, trying to decide which one to pick. I notice the main counter is now occupied by Ava. Seems like she's already lost in the book despite not having been there before. I wonder where she was before. Seeing her position now, it must have helped out the librarian after hours. I don't think I've ever seen her around campus without a book, so it shouldn't be surprised to me she maximizes her time in the library. I'm still considering which of the three titles I should pick. I should ask Ava to get her opinion. Suddenly hear Ava's voice come from behind the counter. Gabe! Hey, Gabe! Turn my attention back towards her. She beckons with her hand to come to the counter. No, she wants to talk to me now. You decide which book you wanted? I actually have each of them here since I knew you'd be coming. Wow, that was nice of her. Must have been when I was with Clover. I'm very thoughtful of her. I mean, I did it for the whole class last week, too, so it's not just for you. Sundere succubus. Wonderful. Anyway, just let me know which one you like. She shyly turns her face as she says this, like she said something embarrassing. Odd. As a matter of fact, I haven't been able to make up my mind about which of the three books I should pick for the reading assignment. Which one did you happen to read? Ava hesitates for a second, looking a little embarrassed, and the somewhat small voice replies, I read all three. Okay, I didn't expect that much dedication to reading. I kinda did. Ava must really spend all her free time in books, then. Considering Gabe first met her before going to confession and all the religious books she reads, she's decidedly very Catholic. Oh. Okay, I guess that's all I'm getting. Okay, then that's even better. You should be the best person to ask for an unbiased opinion on each. What do you think I should get the most out of? If you prefer allegorical fiction, Screwtape Letters is an obvious choice. Follows the conversations into higher and lesser demons through letters as they try to corrupt souls. During the story, you learn how to recognize and avoid the traps demons try to lay for us. Sounds like it could be an entertaining way to look at the faith through storytelling. I'm interested for sure. As for nonfiction, Mere Christianity is a bread and butter of shared Christian theology. It's a lighter take on apologetics that most people should be able to grasp. It can be beneficial to see what things all Christians, whether Catholic or Protestant, happen to have in common. I know I've heard this title somewhere before, so it must be popular. The Abolition of Man is a deeper dive into Christian theology that criticizes and warns about moral subjectivity, focusing on natural law arguments throughout. Moral subjectivity and natural law. Sorry, I'm not sure I understand what either of those mean. It's because you're an idiot. Oh, well, a natural law is a theological term that refers to why things are the way they are through observation of nature and the world, as well as truths extracted from such observation. And as for moral subjectivity, it's a thought that whatever is true to me might not be true to someone else. The opposite of this is moral objectivity, which states that morality is unchanging regardless of the subject or a person, but is dependent instead on the objective situation. That's what Lewis argues in favor of. Don't worry if it's over your head. It doesn't come easy for everyone. That makes perfect sense to me, but I've studied this before, so yeah. And then again, if you want a challenge, if you're thinking, this one seems like it has real substance. If you want to get a deep dive into some philosophically based theology, that might be a good start. Even though it looks like it's about half the size of the other books. And then it will take me just as long to comprehend to read since the subject matter is so dense. By the time she finishes the final book's explanation, Ava realizes how long and confidently she's been talking and blushes a bit. Anyway, just let me know which one you'd like. You give me a lot of information, so which one should I pick? You know what? It's a little meatier than the others, so we're going to do... I think I'm ready for a challenge. Abolition of Man is right for me. Good choice. I think you'll like it, if you're into apologetics, I mean. Oh yeah, let's define our terms for the people at home who might not know what this is. Word that means in defense of something. In the context of this visual novel, it means in defense of the Christian faith, which is oftentimes where you'll hear the term. Apologetics is the means by which a person defends their position through opposing thoughts. Oh, definitely. I mean, rather, I'm thinking of getting into it since I haven't really ever taken my faith that seriously. I've heard good things about C.S. Lewis's work on the subject. Well, hopefully this opens a few doors for you. If you have any apologetics questions, feel free to ask me anytime. That is, let's one ask Father John or Sister Talia, since I'm sure they're more wise and experienced as spiritual guides. No, I'm sure your advice will be just fine. I'll keep that in mind if I have any questions, thanks. David grabs the book from the table, scans the brand new library card, scans the book, and hands both to me. Thanks, pays out to be the new kid, huh? Don't let it go to your head. It's not like I'm treating you any differently than anyone else. Only kidding. Thanks for the help. She's doing all this to get the opportunity to get to know her a bit better. What kinds of books do you normally read, specifically, I guess? I know Clover suggested romance. Ava cuts me off by dropping the book in front of me and clearing her throat. Because that's a dangerous road to travel for her. I like to dip my toes in many different genres, both fiction and nonfiction. You could say you're a well-rounded jack of all trades. You could say that, but not a master of none. I take pride in the large varieties of books I read, not just quantities. Do you have any recommendations for me aside from the obligatory academic reading? Ava thinks to herself, a bit eyeing me for a second, then coming to a conclusion. Pick a genre. Anything? Yep, give me a genre, I'll give you a few recommendations from each. Alright, let me think. What am I in the mood for right now? Fantasy romance? That kind of feels like I'd just be like poking at her, and I don't want to do that. That's a little mean. I'm not Taco after all. Let's ask her for fantasy recommendations. I haven't read a good fantasy book in a while. Give me something that will make me feel like I'm on a grand adventure. Ava thinks for a moment, takes a deep breath, and unloads with a handful of fantasy recommendations. Can I go about The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, which is from a Catholic author, no less. Then there's the Narnia series, C.S. Lewis. Don't knock books for young adults, they can still be very relevant. And lastly, a few personal favorites of mine, the Earthsea Cycle series, which starts with the Wizard of Earthsea in the first Dragonlance trilogy. Don't watch the movie, it sucks. It's super boring. So how long fantasy series usually are, I don't know if I'll even have time for all of them. The Hobbit is a very light read. You can get through it in a day if you really dedicate yourself. I mean, it was written as a bedtime story for his son. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is much, much denser, however. Maybe I'll just pick one or two for now. Should I ask recommendations in other genres? Sure. Sci-fi. We look for innovation. Cool, strange things will be around the corner. Maybe some space and robots. Ava thinks for a moment, takes a deep breath, and unloads the handful of sci-fi recommendations. Asimov's a go-to for sci-fi, so I'd go with a short story collection or two from him. Maybe I, Robot, or general best-of book. Oh yeah, Isaac Asimov also wrote really interesting theological books, the guides to the Old and New Testament. I actually had those growing up and read them throughout middle school. Quite fascinating insight. For modern sci-fi and even pseudo-religious philosophy, you could try out Ted Chiang's short story collections. He has some very unique ideas that often combine psychology, technology, and religion. Finally, I count dystopian novels as sci-fi, so you haven't read 1984 Animal Farm: A Brave New World, it would benefit you to do so. You'll find just how much of this is no longer science fiction, but actual fact. Half of these can be short story collections, not that there's a problem with that. Sometimes if there's a point being made, it should be short and sweet. Should I ask recommendations? Sure, philosophy. Have you gotten much into philosophy? I'm looking to broaden my horizons outside of just apologetics. Ava thinks for a moment, takes a deep breath, and loads the handful of philosophy recommendations. I swear I'm literate. My personal favorite is G.K. Chesterton. Pretty much all his books are witty and religious, but also highly philosophical. I don't think I've heard of him. G.K. Chesterton is a popular Catholic author and apologetics writer during the early 1900s. Some of his popular works include Heretics, Orthodoxy, The Everlasting Man, and the Father Brown series of books. His writings have inspired many Catholics and non-Catholic Christians during his day, and afterwards included well-known authors like C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. He's often well appreciated for both his wisdom and wit. Try Heretics or Orthodoxy first and follow up with The Everlasting Man if you like his wit. For the heavy stuff, you can try Aristotle's Poetics, Ethics, and Plato's Dialogues or Republic, or check out Augustine's Confessions. Nutaku would have some comments on this. For more political philosophy, you can try the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers, the Gulag Archipelago by Solzhenitsyn. Holy crap, I have no idea how you're supposed to say that. Solzhenitsyn? The Rights of Man by Thomas Paine. Really heavy stuff, but I did ask. I wonder if she's actually read them all. I wouldn't put it past her. Should I tease her? I kind of want to tease her a little bit. I have the angel Snek on one shoulder and the devil Snek on the other. I'm really tempted to poke the bear on this. You know what? I'm going to be nice. If you want to tease Ava, you can play the game for yourself. It's a free demo on Steam. That should be enough for now. I think she's recommended should last me a while, even if I start now. As we finished the current topic, I become aware of the fact that the whole time she was listing off books, she had an air of confidence beyond her normal demeanor. When she realizes that I'm reading her face, her body tenses and her tail straight up behind her and slowly retracts into a normal pose. I guess her passion blinded her from her usual embarrassment. She certainly doesn't seem to back down when she's just with Clover, however. Maybe she's just not completely comfortable around me yet. Thanks for the recommendations in the assigned book. I appreciate all the help. Sure thing, and you're welcome. See you tomorrow. I shoot from the library, give her a quick wave goodbye, which she reciprocates. So I have some time to kill for dinner. Might as well head back to the dorms and relax. As I head through the dorm hallways, I flip through my newly acquired book. Should be able to knock it out completely, and if I read 2 to 3 chapters each night, maybe more if it gets interesting. Observing the plain emptiness of the hallway, I'm suddenly filled with an intense longing. I knew it'd be different being away from home, but I'm already missing the security of being in my own house, my own room. And I start thinking of all the people I've met so far. I wonder if this is all going to be worth it. This is going to help me take my first steps into the real world. It really is different being here all alone. At least I'm slowly digging a foothold in this place and making the most of it. Around the corner run the Damien, his face as tired as ever. Ah, Gabe, yo! Hey, how's it going? Damien stretches and lets out a big yawn. Fine, just about to get ready for more homecoming planning committee stuff. Homecoming? We had it a lot earlier at my other school this year. Yeah, go with anyone special? Nah, wasn't really that close romantically with anyone at that school. At least I never got a chance to. I'm reminded of Sophia, the bunny girl from my old school again. I wonder if anything could have ever happened between us. Certainly not a public school. There's always this school. You your eyes on anyone in class or outside? I hadn't thought about it much till now, but most of the people I've talked to since coming here have been girls. Cute girls at that. Never really considered dating a monster girl either, for that matter. Again, not that I thought of dating much in the first place. Certainly isn't a lack for girls around here, but I doubt anyone would be interested. I wouldn't be so sure. I've seen how some of the girls in class look at you. Don't underestimate your influence as a new student. So sure, newness is awkward for the new kid, but attention is attention. It's not like anyone's giving you negative attention so far, right? I suppose not. Still, I think it might be a bit presumptuous for me to ask a girl to dance this early. In that case, you're in luck. It's been a tradition at the school for whatever reason for the girls to ask the boys to the homecoming dance. Oh, so it's the, what do they call it? A vice versa dance. I kind of went to the Sadie Hawkins dance tradition. I've heard it uses the same basic premise. Homecoming is a yearly tradition in most high schools and some colleges in America where people welcome and celebrate foreign members of the community with a football game and often a dance. St. Thomas, this is coupled with a Sadie Hawkins type tradition. The girls ask the guys to the dance as opposed to the other way around. I knew what homecoming was, I just had not heard the term Sadie Hawkins before. I heard it called a vice versa, but okay. I'll let you think about it for a couple of days, and if you find that you have anyone that you got your eye on, I'm pretty connected. Might be able to put in a good word for you. What do you think? Sure, I guess. There are a lot of cute girls in class, but I feel more comfortable after getting to know them a bit more first. Fair enough. Not to change the subject or anything, but do you mind if I take up on your offer from yesterday? I'm asking questions about monster people. Yeah, sure. Ask away. It's a good opportunity to learn more about my fellow classmates. I should ask as many questions as I can while I can. What should I ask about? Let's start with the one that I'm interested in. Might be a bit awkward to ask about succubi, but I'll get it out of the way. What's the relationship with demons and sex, if any? Yeah, it's a common conception to have them considering their depictions in various fantasy works and old legends. Succubi you see walking around among human and monster kind are not demonic in nature, but have human natures completely. You have to keep in mind that demons, like angels, are completely spiritual by nature. So to call something of a physical body a demon doesn't make metaphysical sense. Some attributes to their appearance, there's the same legend of the Nephilim that is said to have caused most of our variations, but nobody truly knows the answer. As for sexual stuff, I know succubi do have some unique qualities about them that can be related to that. For instance, when a succubus likes somebody or even strongly feels love or infatuation, they might produce a very sweet scent that some might find alluring. The thing is, usually only the subject of affection is said to have the ability to smell it. Besides that, they do have the unique ability to influence dreams, their own and others. I wonder if that's why Ava reads all the time. Perhaps she's lucid dreaming in each of her novels' fantasy worlds. That must be nice. So anything else I'd like to ask him about? I guess we'll go for number 2, girl. How about Dragonkin? Are they as fierce as Ren seems to be? Honestly, I wouldn't blame you for that assumption. Most Dragonkin I've met seem like they have something to prove. However, there are some kinder, more gentle ones that completely break that stereotype. Ren certainly is a shining example of fighting spirit, though. Takes advantage of the Dragonkin's natural strength and pushes it past its limits. I think that should be able to qualify for men's fighting leagues as an adult at this rate. Fun and unrelated fact, yes, they can bellow out smoke from their esophagus when they're riled up. Makes me wonder if there really were historical fire-breathing dragons that they somehow descended from. Is there anything else I'd ask him about? I guess I'll ask him about himself. I've been told that daywalkers like yourself don't like to be compared to vampires. What's the connection? Please forgive my ignorance. No worries, man. I asked you to ask, so I shall answer. Daywalkers are obviously separated from vampires since they have none of the curses attributed to vampires since we aren't of a fallen nature like them. It's true that full vampires are 100% evil beings according to the Catholic Church. They're the closest thing to the physical body that you can consider a demon since demons don't have physical form. This has to do with the state of the human soul at death. In order to become a vampire, a human must pledge their soul to the devil or another demon in an evil ritual and then die immediately after. The reward is effective immortality at the cost of death when exposed to the sun, being repelled by true holy objects, and eternal damnation after death. So without a doubt, vampires are demons inhabiting a human corpse. Shouldn't that outright prove the existence of demons and thus God? Now, there are scientific theories as well, that to do with genetics. The reality is only the government and the church seem to know. Like a conspiracy or something? Nothing crazy like that. In history, it was the Catholic Church who dealt with vampire cases. Modern times, three-letter agencies deal with them because their crimes tend to occur across state lines. I don't know. That's still kind of suspicious, especially when three-letter agencies are involved. He doesn't seem to be aware of any more details on that subject, so I guess we should move on. Sorry for getting sidetracked. What about daywalkers? Of course. Daywalkers are the product of vampire and human relations, however rare that may be. We get similar benefits, just increased vitality, but nothing close to immortality. We're also pretty good at concealing our presence. If we don't want to be found, it'll be hard to find us. Our only curse is that we're basically carnivores. Blood works too, but not necessary. We can eat and drink other things, just not as nourishing and even just distasteful. Oh, and we're somewhat weakened by the sun. Some of us are fully nocturnal for this reason, though it's kind of hard to fit in that way. Oh, is that why you look so tired all the time? The student council was just working you to death. Nah, that's my fault. I get more done if I stay up all night and all day. I still function due to the increased vitality, but I am often tired. So reminded by this fact, Damon lifted a big yawn while waiting for my next question. We're here anyway. Let's just cover all our bases. What do you know about harpies? I've heard they can fly with their wings. Is that true? In some cases, yes, but it'd be a solo venture. The old stories about harpies picking up people are mostly myth, as far as I know. They are pretty light due to their bone densities and their arms and legs. This is what enables them to fly in the first place. Personality-wise, though, they can be a bit impulsive. Where do you think the term bird brain came from? It doesn't even mean they can't be highly intelligent. On the contrary, many are. They just tend to come with attention deficit disorders by default. And yes, their claws are formidable weapons compared to short daggers, so many keep them dulled for that reason. Interesting. Good to know. Besides that, the one you might be familiar with is pretty cheery, so you don't have to worry about any danger around her. Yeah, I've noticed. Not worried about her, though. It's a good inspiration to never get on her bad side. Alright. I've been curious about slime girls, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say out loud. I don't even know where to start with the questions about their physiology. Yeah, they can be complicated people to piece together, if you pardon the pun. Probably the most versatile monster people I've met. They can eat and absorb nutrients by putting food and really anything with calories in any part of their body. Of course, they seem to be able to control this, so there's no risk of being digested yourself if it happens to come into physical contact with one. They seem to not really like the cold very much, but they also seem to be able to control their temperature, too. Inside their bodies, they have a solid core, which hosts the control for their whole body, so it's like a gel from Monster Rancher. Heart, brain, nerves, whatever magic that keeps them together. They can also take on just any shape, though if they aren't used to being in a shape, it can look kinda funny. Ask Clover to show you a few funny head shapes for animals. She likes showing them off for a laugh. I think we covered everything. I think I'm going to questions for now. If I have anything else, I'll ask you later. I think that was productive and fairly enlightening. Hopefully I asked all the questions I need to avoid any future misunderstandings. Hopefully I asked all the questions I need to avoid any future misunderstandings. Either way, I can always come back to him again and ask more specific questions I have concerns about. By the time I get going, you can scarf down some food before the meeting. Good luck out there. Yeah, thanks. You too, I guess. Don't work yourself to death, dude. Damien resumes at a steady pace in the hall, waving one hand in the air behind him as a farewell. Way back in the same manner, despite him not being able to see me. And there's a futility of doing so too late. Thinking back on my conversation with Damien, I wondered to myself if I really do have any feelings for any of the girls in my class. Pretty much all of them are friendly towards me. If any one of them had a crush on me, that'd be icing on the cake. Did I luck out with not only friends, but potential girlfriend material too? I shouldn't get too full of myself. It's better to remain humble. I'm not here to date anyone necessarily. Never really dated anyone too seriously in the past either, so it's not like I got any real experience. At least here I won't have any racial problems to deal with. Everyone seems to get along just fine regardless of their human or monster status. So it's better for me to focus on friendship for now. If something blossoms naturally from that, that's fine by me. That's the way things should be, shouldn't they? Dating should be a good friend you share many common interests with, aside from the obvious physical attraction, right? Putting that aside for now, I better get started on the book so I can finish by next Monday. Next day on my way to the first class, I thought the demo was going to end there. Ponder what Damien said about the homecoming dance. I don't want to be awkward about it, but I'm curious what the girls in my class think about it. I don't have to wait too long as I overhear a few girls huddled around each other discussing just that. Sarah, have you got your eyes on anyone for this year for the homecoming dance? I might have an idea of someone, but I still haven't decided. Pretty busy with the homecoming committee itself after all. I might be too busy with that to ask someone. What about you, Clover? I'm not big into school spirit things, much as anything that extroverted. Hard pass. You, Ava? Well, if someone were to ask me, it depends on their personality and stuff, I guess. You know that's not how it works. Yeah, you're going to have to ask whoever you want to take you a DATE if you want to go. Ava pushes Clover with her book in retaliation for her teasing. Stop it! I know! This is not anyone who sparked my interest yet. Maybe. Not that there's anybody like that around here. Not even the new guy, Gabe? She purposely says my name a bit louder than the rest and looks over in my direction with a smirk on her face and trouble in her eyes. Ava responds with a blushing scowl. Clover, that's enough. Leave poor Ava alone. Okay, fine. Rin walks in and greets the group. Yo, what's everyone talking about all huddled up? Oh, who they're interested in taking the homecoming next Friday. Do you have anyone you're asking? Not really, though I wouldn't mind going with friends this party. Besides, it's okay to let loose every once in a while. Definitely, I can't wait to make this event everyone remembers. As the conversation concludes, Sister Talia walks in and has everyone take their seats. Good morning, class. As you're all aware, the homecoming dance theme was decided last night as a Monster Mash theme. Since it's so close to Halloween, it was decided that instead of something formal, everyone will come in costume instead. I'm sure you're all excited, but don't let it get in the way of your studies. Let's get started. Everyone open your books to page. Class continues as usual until lunchtime. This is a very long demo. I'm impressed. Grabbing my food from the cafeteria, I journeyed outside again. The courtyard's as busy as ever. However, I do not see Sarah and Rin at the same places as before. And he's scanning the groups of students, I notice Clover and Ava sitting together in the shade of a gigantic oak tree. Ava's reading a book with one hand and eating while Clover chats animatedly beside her. The way they can multitask with that astounds me. I don't know much about them yet, but it'd probably be beneficial to reach out to people on my own for once. I make a resolute decision to casually tread in their direction, dodging through the few people passing by. I try to catch a glance at the title of the book Ava's reading, but it's just at the wrong angle for me to see. As I approach, Clover looks up to me with a tired gaze. Hey, mind if I sit here? Clover continues to stare in my direction and analyzes me for a moment before giving me a dopey grin and answering. We don't mind at all. What's up, new guy? Thanks, not much. Still getting my bearings and figured I'd stick with faces I know and then, guess to get to know them better? What, our faces? No, I mean, get to know you guys a bit better since we haven't really interacted much. Great, off to an awkward start. Self-introductions aren't really my strong point, but that's okay. Hard part's over, now I build it from here. How do you two know each other? I got to the computer labs after school, as you know from yesterday, and since that's most part of the library, Ava and I ended up running into each other most days. Your dad picks you up, right? Yeah, like I said yesterday, it works late most days. I'm too impatient for the bus, unless I need more computer power. For bigger games, of course. Of course. Your mom doesn't pick you up because she's deceased. Ooh, my bad. I just assumed she worked later. Guess I should be more sensitive about the subtleties in speech. Don't worry about it. She passed me when I was too young to remember her. My dad talks about her often, though, since I remind him of her in some ways. That's good, I suppose. Yeah, apparently she was a scientist. It's like mother like daughter, Clover seems to know her way around a computer and then some. More than me, for sure. Clover and I are talking to us, Ava peeking her eyes out over the book, as she's interested in the conversation but doesn't want to be obvious about it. It is an opportunity to include her, despite the fact that she's busy reading. What book are you reading now, Ava? Ava jumps a little surprised that she was called out while still peeking over her book. She tries playing it off like she was still engrossed in the book. Who, me? Nothing particularly interesting. Right now I'm catching up on a romance. That's your favorite, right? Ava blushes at this and gets flustered. Fantasy series. I was saying that I'm catching up on a fantasy series. It has romance in it, but it's not a romance. Same thing, right? Most fantasy games I play don't have romance in them. I wouldn't call them romance, but yours does. Yeah, what about your visual novel things? What do those count as? Hey, those are sci-fi and fantasy too, you know. These two seem amusing each together. They're definitely close since they're used to teasing each other, but only Ava seems to get flustered over it. My intuition about Clover being a troublemaker was right on the money. How about you? What kind of things are you into? Gamer, reader, athlete? A little bit of everything, really, but if I had to pick a hobby, it would be... I have to think about this a little bit. I really do dabble in a lot of hobbies, but do I have anything in common with these that might build up an early friendship? If there's something they wouldn't care for, it's best to be honest with myself and others. No point in starting a friendship under false pretenses, but I do love all of these things. All of these are good answers. I love gaming, I love reading, I love anime, self-improvement I could work on a little bit. But I want to hit on Ava, so I'm going to go with the obvious choice. I need to research more about apologetics and Lives of the Saints. Maybe pick up a sci-fi or fantasy series too. I know we talked at length about different genres, but I wouldn't have taken you for much of a reader in the first place. Not that I'm judging you or anything. Ava looked bothered that she might have upset me or something. It's fine, it's not like I have a book in my hand at all times like you seem to. I consider myself more of a casual reader compared to you. If you ever need any recommendations, come by the library after school again, so I'm usually there anyway. I was going to continue on these lines until the bell rings, signaling that we should wrap things up and make for our next class. Ava carefully puts a bookmark in her book and closes it, while Clover picks up her lunch items and prepares them for disposal. See you around, Gabe. Yeah, see ya. Ava gives me a quick wave bye, and I return the gesture with a similarly quick wave and smile. Pick up my stuff and start heading back to the building for our next class. Every other day we switch between different types of extracurricular classes. You enjoy seeing a few different electives. As a late transfer, physical education was a mandatory default for one. My remaining choice became a toss-up between music and art. And since I don't have an artistic bone in my body, I figured I would try music. I'm terrible at both those things. At least if I'm not very good at it, I can try to blend in or even lip sync in the back so I don't stand out. There I've never been to a school that has anything other than band classes and electives. This will be an interesting experience. I had a lot of freedom in my electives, actually. So look around, I find a room of people I don't recognize, and even more interesting, people of various grades. Since the students are distributed between the various electives, I guess they should have a mix of different grades of students for this sort of thing. I do spy a familiar face in the crowd, however. Arya is standing in the corner on her phone as usual, waiting for class to start. I approach her casually as I wait for the other students. Hey. Hey. Guess I mix grades for a lot of these electives. Yeah, I suppose so. You play guitar, right? Are you in a band or anything? Maybe, depends on who's asking. Who knows? I could be a music producer or scouting new talent. There's a student trying to get to know his fellow classmates. I'd probably say screw off to the first one, so I guess it's better that you're likely to be the latter. Probably more boring than the former, but yep, you got me. Arya eyes me up and down as if analyzing me for the first time. When I return to my face, she smirks slyly to herself, and I feel as if I passed some unknown test. I'm in a band, but we haven't been able to play as much since most of them graduated high school last year. Ah, cool, they're a bit older. The guys plan to go full-time after you escape high school? That's the dream, but we're obviously not there yet, seeing as I'm stuck here and they're working at local stores downtown. Such is the fate of local bands. Sometimes, I mean. I hope you guys make it after all. I just know it's usually a steep road up. Uh-huh. That wasn't the best way I could have handled that. Don't know why she makes me nervous like that. She doesn't really intimidate me or anything, I think. Maybe because she's a senior while I'm just a junior. What kind of stuff are you into? Like music? Keeps looking at me waiting for an answer. Rock is my kind of thing, but I only have a few favorite bands. Try checking out local bands, supporting them? I guess so. I stopped by a battle of the bands in middle school. Technically, I was eating outside at a restaurant with my family, and the festival happened to be playing across the street. Does that count? Do I remember any of the names of the bands that are playing that day? Maybe, I think. If I think about it, I might remember any of the names of the band playing. It's a name that I remember from local battle of the bands: Unity Thai Band, Extravagant Extortion, Revolting Ninja Pirates. Is this, like, I don't understand. Like, am I just supposed to guess? I don't know, I kind of like Revolting Ninja Pirates. Revolting Ninja Pirates. Can't say I know that band. I know a lot of bands nearby. Are you sure you went to a battle of the bands? I guess that wasn't a real band name. I thought for sure that was one of them. Guess I can't fool her. I don't remember much. Truth be told, I was across the street at a local restaurant with my family when we happened upon it. I'm willing to learn more about local bands, however. It's always in my playlist for some new interesting music. Alright, I'll give some recommendations later then. Fanged Freaks played there that year, by the way. How do you know where there was? I come from a town 3 hours away. Bass player for that band is in our band now. She was only with them during her freshman year, but the crazy story she told me about them, that she had told the truth in the beginning. I was just messing around. Why am I getting slapped now? Whatever. Seems like she doesn't mind my ignorance after all. I'm willing to be open. By the way, speaking of bands, you'll have to let me listen to some of your stuff sometime. Maybe sometime. As the music teacher makes his entrance into the room, we're going to take our spots near the rest of the students. The music teacher directs us to various vocal exercises to get us started. I do my best to mimic what everyone else is doing. The music teacher hands out a few pages of sheet music for us to sing. I know this one since it's a pretty common hymn that we sing in my church back home. I feel pretty confident about singing along, even though this version is split into 4 parts. I do my best to blend in. This really is the first time singing with other people in a group setting like this. It's something weird that happens when I'm singing in harmony with others. It's hard to explain. It's like my soul is warm. It comes out of my chest to join the others for the duration of the song. I don't think I'll regret my decision to join the music class. As I'm singing along with the others, my ears pick up a lot of the other students' voices. Arya's in particular is quite striking. She, like me, appears to be trying to blend into the crowd, but I can tell that her voice is something different. It means that crystal clear and perfect pitch with a little pinch of something unique to it that I can't quite put my ear on. Not that I've heard her play guitar yet, but she sounds like she's quite suited for being a vocalist, at least. She does sing with them. I wonder if she's using a different vocal style for her band. I can't imagine a voice like hers singing screamo or anything hardcore. Maybe it could have something to do with the inherent qualities of being a daywalker. I don't understand that, but okay. After class, as the choir members are dispersing, I approach Arya again, intending to compliment her vocal skills. She slips away before I can get to her. Now I just move on to my day and go to the next class. As like that, the rest of the day goes by in a blink of an eye. Final bells at the end of the day, I'm reminded of a bet that was sort of made on my behalf yesterday. It had something to do with a contest we had. Sarah and Ren were really competitive, it seems. Our team won. I think Sarah said I had to check out the basketball team. It was not like I'm obligated to go to either, though I'd feel bad if I got our hopes up. I don't feel like I'm up to joining a physical activity. I'm sure they won't take it personally. I could even sing out an opportunity to get to know them better. Interesting. I think it's really interesting that this is even a prompt. Yeah, we're gonna skip out. Honestly, I don't feel like doing much today. Sometimes that's okay. I was going to catch up on my reading assignment. I returned to the dorms and get jumps. No, I was... You didn't give me the choice. You made it sound like I'd have other options if I did that. I wanted to go see Ava in the library. Thanks, game. Thought they distract me, however. Thinking back on the music class, I did come out today with a bit more appreciation of music and performing arts. As much as I enjoyed music class, I could see myself just reading the semester away. And having a reading partner in the library to make it more enjoyable. Ava did have some great suggestions after all. Regardless of what I ended up doing and who I ended up hanging out with this year, I feel that I should take every chance to become closer to people. I only have 2 years left of high school after all. Well, like 1 and change, but yeah. My thoughts on school life now settled. I pick up my book and start reading again where I left off. For every one pupil who needs to be guarded against a weak excess of sensibility, there are 3 who need to be awakened from the slumber of cold vulgarity. The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles, but to irrigate deserts. The right defense against false sentiments is to inculcate just sentiments. By starving the sensibility of our pupils, we only make them easier prey to the propagandist when he comes. For famished nature will be avenged, and a hard heart is no infallible protection against a soft head. If I understand this correct, Lewis is saying that some modern educators have been teaching erroneously. They teach us as if they're clearing up an overgrown jungle of the mind, full of ideas ready to be formed. It seems in reality it'll be more like we're empty slates who haven't been taught many concrete ideals to believe in or base our thoughts upon. I can certainly believe it. I don't think I've ever been in a class where I was just taught how to think for myself. There were teachers who would ask us to interpret various passages and drop their personal feelings in the matter, of course. Nothing was ever defined or solidified into a solid belief system or ultimate truth of the matter. The only thing that has come close to my faith formation classes. The insistence that truth is objective, and that when we can't see the full truth of something, it's because we don't have enough details to confirm it yet. I guess that's what Ava meant about moral objectivity. I can see that over empty deserts as we pass through our school, we end up indoctrinated by whatever fascinates our mind. Hopefully the teachers here will be following this sort of wisdom. Otherwise I'll have to continue to fortify my mind with things that will irrigate the desert of my mind, so to speak. Continue to absorb the wisdom contained in my book until it's time for me to retire for the night. I wonder myself if I can apply everything I'm learning to bring about a better world, both generally and for the goals I have in mind myself. What are my goals right now? What should I be focusing on to obtain the best outcome for all the things I want? Switch off my light and try to sleep despite all the things racing in my mind. Today's a bit different. Oh man! This is a very long demo.